welcome back to another episode of the OneFourthCareers podcast. I'm your host, Xavier, and I am here with a very special guest, one of my best friends working in the medical field. Really excited to bring this new career to you all. Today, I'm with Darian. Darian graduated from Alabama A&M University with a Bachelor of Science in Biology in 2019. Darian also obtained her Bachelor of Science in Nursing from Goldfarb School of Nursing at Barnes Jewish College in 2021. Now, Darian works as a NICU nurse at a children's hospital. Welcome to the pod, Darian. How's it going? Thanks so much for coming out.
Hey, thanks for having me. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
We made it happen. I told you I had to get you out.
Period.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming by. How's your summer going? What's going on in the neck of the woods that you're in?
It's going good. It's been a pretty busy summer. Moved out of my parents' house, got my first apartment, big adult stuff. So
congratulations. Yeah. Proud of you. I know you stacked the coins. Very responsible of you.
I did. That made that move a lot easier.
I bet it did. I bet you had a lot of fun too. A little vacation here and there. You feel me?
Yeah, went down to Florida, saw Amberly, our friend, got to hang out with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna have to meet her too. Y'all gonna have to meet Amberly. Got to get her on. I already committed you, Amberly, so gotta happen now when you see this. Cool. Well, I love it. So you work as an NICU nurse. Can you explain how did you get into nursing? Maybe share a little bit about your background overall.
Yeah, for sure. So I am currently an NICU nurse, which stands for Neonatal Intensive Care Unit Nurse. How I got into nursing, really, it was, I always kind of wanted to be in the medical field in general. Mm-hmm. I would say like starting from high school up until college. And so what got me into nursing was actually one of my neighbor's daughters. She is an NP, and she currently just got her doctorate, her PhD, and she's now teaching in Chicago right now, teaching psychiatry. But at the time, she was working at a clinic in town, like in St. Louis, and she's also currently my mentor now. So she just really opened my eyes more to what nursing entailed, and I got to shadow her for a day, and I loved how she interacted with patients and how flexible nursing in general was. So I would say definitely she's like the gateway to me going to nursing school and all that fun stuff.
No, I love that. It really, really highlights kind of the importance of a network and having a mentor and how powerful that is. So if any of you feel that you have goals in life, but you don't have someone you can look up to who can give you advice, it is really important to know someone. And a lot of times mentors are looking for you too. They're probably not on the side of the street saying, hey, I'm looking for more work and more hours to commit to someone, but reach one, teach one. Individuals love giving back. So I'm really glad that you had her. And it sounds beautiful and amazing that it seems like she's been a consistent resource for you. As you've been on this journey, I'm sure you probably texted her, called her, and be like, hey, I got a question, or I experienced this, like what's going on?
Yeah, like in nursing school, especially because she is a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Mm-hmm. So during my psychiatry class, because we do take that class, and I was like, hey, can I ask you these questions, or can I run this by you for like an exam? She literally, I would go to her house when she lived here in the St. Louis area, and she would literally run through questions with me for my exam, like took the time out of her day to do that with me. And then I still talk to her throughout this year, but an experience I had last year, I had a interesting patient situation, and I called her for her input to like understand, like, hey, did I do this right, or was this X, Y, and Z? It was definitely just a big thing at the time, but now it seems so small because I've grown. But she helped me walk through that. So it's so important to have people that like in your corner that do what you do, or are doing what you like aspire to. So
no, facts. No, I love that. Thank you for sharing. So we have our first segment here, and it's called Step Back. And I know you know about sports a little bit, so we got to hit that step back, because you did mention that you've wanted to be a nurse since high school. But I'm curious, before that, Did you ever have any goals of becoming something else? Did you dream of being in another role when you were an adolescent?
So not really, I would
Okay.
say. I mean, if we're going all the way back, I used to want to be a bus driver in elementary school because I loved school so much.
Mm.
But we grew past that. We grew
You
past.
different.
um, but in high school, not really. I didn't really have any big goals at that
Mhm.
time. I just knew I wanted to do good in school, get a lot of A's and B's, and then go to college. But I didn't know what I wanted to do for sure. Um,
Yeah.
so I didn't really have any I didn't have any other ideas outside of like maybe medicine or like biology. Yeah.
Sounds like me. Minus the boarding school part, but very similar to me. Like, didn't really have, many goals outside of the typical boy dream of like, oh, I want to go pro playing whatever sport I'm playing or whatever. But no, really interesting. And I do think it was unique for some people to kind of find an interest in what they want in high school. So some people would maybe say that that was on the earlier end where you found out what you wanted to do. So I love the story. I love the journey, and it fits you. So appreciate you sharing that. Now, talking about working in the NICU, being a nurse in that environment, can you talk about what you do and your role and responsibilities?
Yeah, so being in the NICU, I work like most nurses at bedside. I work 12-hour shifts, 3 days a week, or sometimes four, just depends. In the NICU, I deal with our most vulnerable population on this planet. So I deal with babies who were born too early. So babies who were born from 24 weeks gestation all the way up to full-term babies. I deal with babies that require around the clock care. I deal with babies that need frequent medications, um, that need more specialized care than like your normal babies that go home. I deal with respiratory babies, babies that have stomach issues like neck enterocolitis. I deal with babies that have breathing tubes or feeding tubes that need IVs and transfusions. And so my role and responsibility is, of course, to take care of them while also communicating and working with our medical teams. That includes the doctors, pharmacists, the nurse practitioners, and other nurses. And then, of course, making sure that the family and the parents remain an integral part of all the care that the baby receives,
Yeah.
because they are also technically our patients too, in a way, because they're at the bedside, they're scared, they're nervous, what are you doing to my baby? Like
Yeah.
some parents too, a lot of the times it's the mom has delivered at the hospital and the baby's being wheeled over to the NICU. So the mom doesn't even get to see their baby or hold their baby until they get a chance to come over to the NICU and see them for the first time. So all that is very scary, and that definitely requires our empathy and things like that. So,
Ooh-wee. Girl, you doing a ringer on me. So, as some people who know, some people who may not know, I just had my first child May 1st of this year, and there's nothing more precious to me than my family. And the hospital that we delivered at, took amazing care of us. Um, the nurses were incredible. So going through that experience, it's different than just going to a doctor having a checkup, but maybe being in a hospital environment, you see the work that goes into it. You see how vulnerable you are, of like you're powerless. You say, man, if this nurse, whatever this nurse or doctor says, outside of kind of having your health advocates who are informed, you feel a bit helpless. So giving you your flowers, like you are a superhero to so many people.
thank you.
And you make so many people comfortable and brighten so many people's days. And without the work that you and other nurses do, like, so many things could go left, so many things could go wrong. So I thank you on behalf of so many people, especially when you're talking about dealing with these babies. And my daughter, what I'm saying, indescribable being a new dad. So that's really touching when you kind of describe that. And I know you personally, so I know how passionate you are, how empathetic and how caring you are. So I appreciate you. And I hope that on those hard days, because I know you have some and I know nurses have some, I hope that you all are able to kind of stay uplifted to the best of your abilities, because you guys are doing such meaningful and impactful work. So yeah, thank you. It's lit.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So I really hope that people watching the episode, man, like I hope y'all really find some of that information new, or if you don't, I hope you find it reaffirming to kind of hear that testimony of some of the experiences and responsibilities that Darian shared, because it's really dope to hear that. I didn't know anything before we gave birth to my daughter. I'm gonna stop saying that. Before my wife gave birth, I didn't do anything but support. So let me make sure I'm giving appropriate flowers there.
Yes, yes.
You feel me? So before that, I mean, you can't really, it's not common knowledge what it's like to be a nurse. So that's why another reason why I'm so incredibly excited to do this episode with you, because of the representation within that workforce. I think that this episode will hopefully inspire so many and keep people on that track of wanting to become a nurse and be just like Darian. So transitioning from that, how did you get into your role? Like tactically, how did you acquire your nursing opportunity? How was that facilitated for someone who's on that track?
Yeah, so basically, of course, you need your bachelor's in nursing. There's like so many different ways to do it. I feel like nursing is so flexible. But I specifically know basically like the RN way of how to get to it. But of course, there's like LPNs, which are licensed practical nurses. You can also start off getting your like associate's degree in nursing at a community college. I think that's 2 years, and then go back and get your bachelor's. But for me, like you said earlier, since I already had a previous degree at the Alabama A&M University, I already had a 4-year degree, and so I was like, I don't want to go back for 4 years to another college. So thankfully, the nursing school I went to, Goldfarb, had a accelerated Bachelor of Science in Nursing program. So I got 4 years worth of teaching in a year. So I did that, which is very hard. That was definitely a year of sacrifice. I feel like I didn't go anywhere or do anything. And then also I went to school during COVID. So that was like, things were online except for clinicals. Those were in person, but like classes for the most part were online, and that was a little different. So but yeah, definitely getting your Bachelor of Science and then in nursing. And then, of course, you have to have your RN license, which is your registered nurse license. So for that, you take the NCLEX, and that's usually after you graduate nursing school. That's when you prepare to take it. And then once you pass that, then you can become you're obviously a nurse, so you can kind of like work anywhere for the most part. And then, of course, like, for Missouri, the state of Missouri, our license is like a compact state license. So I can work in like surrounding states, but then some states, like I think DC and Cali, you have to like get a new license. So so that's a little different if you were getting licensed in Missouri, but then you move to California, we need to get a California license to practice.
How did you get into your role? Let people know whatever is relevant there.
Yeah, so basically, like, through nursing school, I was told that you can't specialize. You can't specialize once you get out of nursing school. It's so competitive. Da, da, da. I'm so glad I didn't listen. No one else should listen to any instructor that told them you can't get into a specialty. So any like ICU or anything like that, like you definitely can get into it. Just depends on your hospital, like what you're looking for and like what programs they have. During, I would say probably the last semester of my nursing school, I had a clinical, or not a clinical instructor, but a nurse that I had shadowed during clinicals. I told her how much I wanted to be in the NICU because I shadowed a NICU nurse during nursing school, and I loved it so much. And so she was like, I have a friend who's a manager in the NICU. And I was like, really? And I was like, for real? And so she was like, yeah, I'll put a good name for you and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And so thankfully I got to, get my name put in through her. And then also, I had a family friend who transitioned um, from a role at a financial company to the hospital that I was looking to work at, and they are in senior leadership, and they wrote a referral letter to another like person in the hiring process. So I also
Yeah.
got my name in, which was fantastic, and I thank God for those opportunities. So it definitely matters who you know, and it definitely matters how you socialize, who you are at work, at your clinicals or
Yeah.
at class. Like, I'm really introverted, so the fact that I was able to get someone to recommend me was great.
Yeah.
But just having that together, and then once I did that, once I graduated nursing school, I basically had my interview there and got hired. But thankfully, what happened was that with children's, they had a new grad orientation program, which not every hospital has. So definitely going to see like what your hospital has as far as new grads. This children's hospital, they will hire you, take you in, and train you to be in those specialty areas. So that's kind of like, I guess, an overall gist. I also feel like I got tracked a little bit, so sorry. But
No, you're great.
but yeah, so look for those like new grad orientation programs um, that will take new grads, because that's really how you get onto the floor specialty that you really want.
You knock that out of the park.
Okay.
That's why I love doing this, because so many gems are shared. And I'm probably gonna cut this out where like they can just see you, but I don't know if I I don't know if I will or not. Basically, when I was looking down because I'm like, she is dropping too many gems for me to keep up with. Like, I need to write this down because I have to say something to make sure that people did not miss it. Number
Yeah.
one, 4 years in 1 year, or whatever the consolidated program, accelerator program you went into, like, we all know what it's like to go through school, high school, college, whatever it is. So like, knowing that you were doing that much school, and I feel like you wasn't super quiet in the group chat either. So, you wasn't really neglecting your friends. So I don't know how you did it, but kudos to you for that. But that's crazy to think of, like, that much schooling. But it also speaks to your determination,
Mhm.
your willingness to sacrifice for something you really wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, there's just so much that's very admirable about that journey. The
Mhm.
other piece, when you mentioned, not being able to specialize or being told you couldn't, it's always reasonable to hear out the wisdom of those who are instructors or people teaching you. But I think there's an added element of persistence and determination that's needed, of always having some level of skepticism. And I think having a healthy level of skepticism is great for people to have. Go get the information for yourself. And if you really want something, maybe test it out and see if you can get it. I think that shows them so many phases of life. So I'm glad that you were able to still get what you wanted, despite of what was being told of how competitive in nature that opportunity could be, and so on and so forth. So like, that speaks to who you are, your hard work. The networking, another gem. Hopefully y'all notice it is to an extent about who you know, and networking is a tool. And I think a lot of times people view networking as this big scary, political thing, or whatever the case may be, intimidated by networking. But just know, networking is an asset to you. You use networking. Networking does not use you. It is something that you're able to take control of, and you're able to tailor to your personality too. And if you want to learn more about that stuff, talk to your mentors, use YouTube. Hopefully, this video helps. And then another thing that you mentioned that I love that you mentioned is the fact that you're an introvert. Maybe we're talking right now, you seem like the most bubbly extrovert there is, but I think it's really cool you highlighting that you're an introvert, because I know that there's some other introverts out there listening to this episode, watching this show. You being an introvert does not put you at a disadvantage for success in your life. And I think the sooner you're able to take control and kind of use the power of you being an introvert, and understanding that there are trade-offs to an extrovert too, good and bad. Same with being an introvert. One of which is being an amazing listener, if you're an introvert, and the list goes on. So I think that was another great gem. So we're gonna drop the mic. We're gonna finish the episode here because in you answering that one question alone, you dropped so many gems.
Oh
Gotta
my
leave
gosh.
it. No. She's like, oh, that was so quick and easy. I love that.
Oh my
Back to regular programming.
gosh.
So I'm curious to know skills and certifications. Can you speak to skills, certifications that would be really helpful to help someone else thrive in the role that you're in?
Yeah, so of course, like I'm gonna assume that we're already talking about you already have your BSN, you already have
Yeah.
your license.
Mm-hmm.
So within the NICU role, you definitely, and your job would also provide this, but you need to have your BLS certification. That's like CPR basically, which technically you already get in nursing school. They require you to get it. But you'll have that, of course. And then specific, I think at least to the NICU, I'm not sure if like labor and delivery nurses need to do this or not, but you're going to get your NRP, which is the Neonatal Resuscitation Program certification. And so that's a little bit more specialized than just CPR. It goes through like all the steps about if you're like in the delivery room, which some NICU nurses can do, which my hospital does. But if you're like in the delivery room and you start doing resuscitation attempts, and it's a whole thing. So that's more in depth than CPR that you'll get through your job too. And then just some other like small things to have, like your CCRN, your critical care nurse certification. That is also something you can do that your hospital might provide you with. And then also, I think there's another one that I can't think of right now. It's called an RNC, but I don't remember what that stands for. So maybe don't
Y'all
go.
look it up. Y'all look it up. Y'all look it up.
But yeah, so those are some like good ones to have for sure.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Those were a handful of certifications. So y'all look into those if you want to learn more about those. And I think that's really helpful for our viewers who are interested in the nursing field to learn about. And just know that there could be more depending on what you're trying to go into. But that's the excitement of knowing that whatever you choose to do, there are some things that probably will be similar for a lot of different nurses, but some things will be tailored to you. You get your own special path, your own special certifications that you need to get. So I find that really interesting. I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious now about programs and associations. So, aspiring nurses, medical professionals, just from your experience, are there any programs and associations that you would recommend people join to be around this medical field, to be around nursing, to be around people who are like minded with similar aspirations? What have you observed in your career field?
Yeah, so I feel like within my career field, as far as associations go, I have not really experienced any big societies or associations that I know of. Of course, there's like or like national like neonatal association, of course, where a lot of like good information comes from. So like keeping up to date on that. Definitely, and this may sound like very like duh, but like social media, use that to your advantage. There's so many really cool and informative nurse influencers out there who are NICU nurses, like the NICU nurse Tori, the NICU doc. He's a neonatal doctor that literally just posts reels about everything NICU. And there's also Alexis Nicole. She's on Instagram. I think she has, or still has, the Nurses Nook on YouTube, where she was a pediatric nurse, pediatric ER nurse, and now she is in school to be a neonatal nurse practitioner. And she's in the NICU right now, which is so cool. And she's been explaining her journey about that. Definitely just using social media to your advantage, reaching out to these people, looking at their content. And then also too, like in college and things like that, especially at A&M, I always kind of surrounded myself with, well, in the biology department, I've always surrounded myself with those who wanted to be in like the medical profession and who like wanted to be researchers. Like thankfully I had internships like summer internships every summer since freshman year. And at each summer program, I found a doctor to shadow. Like I found someone to shadow because I was interested, and I'm like, hey, like a lot of the research that I did was attached. The universities I went to were attached to hospitals. So I would just be like, hey, can I shadow you while I'm here? Or I would reach out and ask someone like, hey, can I spend the day with you? And a lot of times, because you're a student, it's only a day. It's not that big of a commitment. A lot of times you'll hear people say yes. And definitely making sure to network and do things that way, because that's the only way I feel like you really can really know if that's what you want to do, especially like in the medical, like the medical field. Now, of course, if you decide to become a medical professional, a nurse, doctor, whatever, of course, a lot of stuff you're not going to really experience until you're actually in that role. But at least you can give yourself a heads up by asking a shadow and doing those things.
So
yeah.
Tell me this. You brought up something that I think is really important that maybe I didn't plan on us talking about, but I think that this is a really great opportunity because I didn't really realize maybe the value of internships in the medical field or what those internships are even like and how that may have played a role into your full-time job. Can you talk about the internships you did, maybe highlighting how did you acquire the internships? And what did they contribute to your journey of becoming a full-time NICU nurse now?
Tidbits, I guess, for every student going to A&M or just any college, really. But I feel like at A&M, I feel like all the professors, the staff, everyone that was involved in teaching you were so personable, so relatable. And I think if you're doing your part as a student, you're being consistent, you're showing up to class, you're trying your best, then they'll meet you halfway and they'll remember you when opportunities come up or when things come up. And my first internship that I got at Iowa State University, I think I was talking to I don't know if it was the dean or department chair. It was one of those where they just had like the open door, like meeting all the new students and things like that. And I went in and I introduced myself and talked, and I was like, yeah, there's any opportunities that you have, just let me know.
I'm trying to make some money.
Okay, like because I didn't know what I really wanted to do. Like I knew I wanted to do biology, but just like nursing, biology is so flexible. There's so many avenues. And he emailed me about the Iowa State University internship in agriculture. And I was like, agriculture, okay, whatever. Did that, found out I did not want to be outside like that. I did not want to deal with plants and things of that nature. But it's like trial and error. And then further through the rest of my career, it was more focused on more like human research and more focused on like microbiology and things like that. And biochemistry and stuff. And those opportunities I got through my teachers. 2016, I came back here to WashU, Washington University in St. Louis, which is a really, really great medical school and has really great research. And I got that through one of my teachers in my biology program. Junior year, I went to University of Minnesota and did research there. I think that one I got through just doing a Google search of research internships, medical internships on Google, and applied through there. And so it's really just about who you know, and then honestly just Googling it.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, you gotta put in that work to find, just go find some stuff.
Just go find it. It's just it's out there, you just have to look for it and then just do the work to do all those applications, which take forever, but yeah.
I love that. Another plug for y'all. Have a good relationship with your professors. Like now, if they own some how they be on sometimes, I understand that can be difficult, but this
Yeah.
is really to highlight the value of your professors, having a relationship with them. It kind of starts your professional journey, even if you don't have internships or you haven't entered the workforce. Sometimes the way you conduct yourself in a classroom and the way that you interact with your professors, kind of starts your journey of your professionalism, if you will. And it really can expose you to opportunities. I know I similarly had opportunities from, positive relationships with my professor. So hopefully for anyone who's in school or will be in school, or just understanding in life in general, a lot of opportunities do come from some of those positive relationships. And it's funny, Darian, because I was like, where she work at again? Let me look this up real quick. And it's like, I was like, dang, I forgot you was in Iowa. Look, I forgot you were in Iowa. And then, just the fact that you've been to so many different places. Another really cool plug is knowing for those who want to do internships, just the way that you can get them through professors, through career fairs, by you Googling and applying, through pipeline programming, different associations. Just know that if you're kind of like, man, I really want to get an internship, but I don't know through where, know that think of it as they come from so many different directions. Your goal and your job is to stand in the center, and all those opportunities coming from all those various pipelines, you want those to feed and go to you. So just know, be on the lookout that you have a few different avenues to get internships, similar to what Darian shared as well. And part of it's going to be some opportunities will reveal themselves to you, and some of them you have to go find, you have to go get. And again, another important part about your professors, if you have a good relationship, hopefully they'll push you to do that. If you're a part of some type of program where you have mentors who let you know that, hey, this is an important part of your college experience or just the workforce in general, knowing what to go after. I appreciate you sharing that information. I know it was a bit unplanned, but I think that you were a perfect person to kind of speak on how you got your internships and what they meant to you and what they exposed you to outside of getting really good experience, having a really nice resume with different reputable brands on it, making a little money don't hurt, making a little change don't hurt while you in school. Gotta get the coins. Need the coins. No, I love that. So the other thing I want to ask you is if you could go back and give yourself advice in undergrad. I feel like you did a lot of things right, but we're not about pushing out perfection. We don't want anybody to think it's a perfect journey for anyone. And I think I would love to hear from you. What advice would you give yourself to better prepare yourself for the role you're in, for life, whatever comes to mind for you? Oh, this gonna be good. She gotta think about it. This gonna be good. Come on, hype it up.
I think I would tell my undergrad self, like now, since I'm, more mature and older, I would definitely tell her to not worry about what other people think as far as like your life decisions, and not being like a people pleaser. I know, and that's like hard, right? Because you're like, oh, I want to make sure people are proud of me and things
Yeah.
like that. And I like towards like the middle, I guess, of my undergrad career, so like between 20, 2017, 20, and then when I graduated 2019, I was like, okay, I think I want to be a doctor. I want to be a physician. Pretty sure this is what I want to do. I was like studying for the MCAT, which is what you need to get into medical school. I was like doing all this stuff, and I was shadowing more doctors and things like that. And I graduated, and I graduated and started working actually at WashU, where I had an internship at, and I was a research technician. And I was just like, I don't think I'm gonna be a doctor anymore. And of course, me being me at my graduation party with like 100 and something of my family members, I was like, I'm gonna be a doctor. I'm gonna be a physician, and I want to do this, that, and the other. And everyone clapped and was like, "Yeah, that's so great!" Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And in my alone time, I was like, I don't want to be a doctor anymore. I don't want to study for this test anymore. I've seen what I need to see, and I don't like what I saw, and I don't want to be a doctor anymore. And so I had internally made that decision, but I hadn't told anybody. And everyone in my family, maybe outside my parents, were like, "Oh, she's gonna be a doctor. She's gonna be a doctor. It's fine. She's great. She's gonna be a doctor."
Yeah.
And so, like later that year, when I decided, I think I want to be a nurse, because it offered more flexibility. I liked the work-life balance. I liked, I just liked what I saw with my mentor. And I was like, man, I really don't want to be a doctor anymore. But everyone else expects me to be a doctor because I said I wanted to be one. And I just kept it under the radar for so long that like I went to school, I was like in my program. And so then finally people like at reunion, or not reunions, but just like on the phone or just in chit chatting or things like that, they were like, "Oh, so are you a doctor now?" And I'm like, "I'm actually a nurse now." And they were
Yeah.
like, "Oh." And I was surprised by for some family members, I would say at least 70-75 were like, "Oh, cool, you change your mind, no big deal." And
Yeah.
then there was like a couple of the other percentage, that was like, "A nurse, really?" Like they
Yeah.
saw it as
Boo.
boo, like beneath, like no,
Tomato, tomato, tomato.
yeah. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, whatever.
That's
But
different.
right, but something that my parents told me was like, this is your life to live. Like they're already living their life. They're making their own decisions. You need to make your own decisions and what makes you happy and what makes you feel satisfied. And I knew that if I would continue to be a doctor on that track, like to want to be a doctor, I don't think I would have been as satisfied as I am now. Like I've
Yeah.
had the happiest years of my life. The last 2 years have been being a NICU nurse because it's what I want to do. I know that this is my purpose and this is my calling, just by how everything was orchestrated from the beginning, from having a mentor established from my neighbor's daughter, and to just the support I received in nursing school and the way that I was able to get into my career with referrals. I mean, that's people having my name in high places. I mean, like that is all God in general. And so I know that like this, he directed my path so perfectly that
Yep.
I'm where I'm supposed to be. And so
Mhm.
not worrying about what other people think or other people are like, oh, like, why did you pivot? Why did you do this? Like,
It's your life to live.
life.
You
Yeah.
feel me? Yeah, I love that. Now, on this journey, tell me a little bit about who or what inspires you.
Yeah. Ooh, well, definitely, I would say definitely my mentor. She's so hardworking and she is just like, it's just like she just does it, like you just look at
Yeah.
her and she's like, wow, like you're just doing all the things. And so she's definitely inspiring to me. And I think who else is inspiring? Mm, I don't know. I think mostly her, and then too, just
Yeah.
the population that I work with, like they're just so, they're so resilient. Like, they're just resilient, and it's just encouraging to know that like that, wow, I held this baby today that might become the president when they're older or things
Yeah.
like that. And just like, I don't know, just working with such a precious population, it just definitely, it just feels like it just gives me so much purpose and just, it's just
Yeah.
nice. They
I
inspire
love
me
that.
too.
Yeah, absolutely. So with all that inspiration, over the next year or two, where do you feel you're gonna be? Where do you see yourself in a year or two?
I'm not 100% sure. Of course, like I still
Mhm.
want to be working in the NICU. I still want to get more experience, of course.
Yeah.
I think with nursing, because it's so flexible, you could do anything. You could change specialties, change floors. You could move from the bedside to like a clinic or a doctor's office, or you could do research. You could get your doctorate. You could become a doctor if that's what you wanted to do, like a physician, or PA, like you can go anywhere. So I really am not 100% sure what the future holds, but I'm hoping that it still involves babies.
Yeah.
And I definitely would like to get my PhD at some point. I'm not sure if I want to be a nurse
It's okay if you change your mind.
Yeah, it's okay. Like
Okay, cool.
now, you might see me do something different. I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah. So definitely working with babies and getting my doctorate.
I love that. Hey, goals are goals. If you don't make a plan, then you plan to fail or whatever they say.
Mm-hmm.
But no, thank you for sharing that. And now, kind of just as we're closing, I want to ask if you have any other remarks for the listeners.
Honestly, I would say thank you for having me and including me on your podcast, Xavier. I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. And this is just such a great idea that you have. And I think it'll reach a lot of people, a lot of different ways. It'll resonate, especially. So
Mm-hmm.
kudos to you. This is such a good idea. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm happy that you included me.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Really appreciate you coming by. Special shout out to Pops. We love you, my brother. Hope you get well. Speedy
thank you.
recovery. If you know, you know. We men everywhere. We said we really appreciate having Darian a part of our friend group. She's a very special member of our family. So much love to you and the family, and thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah.
So, Darian, this is a new segment called Three Piece. We love food. We love to order our meals in the three-piece sound, real appetizing. We love food around here, but I need a three-piece from you about your career. If you can give me 3 words that describe your career journey thus far.
Ooh, 3 words. Hmm. My career journey this far.
Yeah.
Ooh, I would say. Mm, oh my gosh, this is hard. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I would say 3 words so far would be exciting, challenging, and say the last one would be. Oh, can growth be one? I feel like growth can be
Ain't
one.
no rules to this. These your words.
Exciting, and then what did I say? Exciting, changing,
Challenging.
and then like growth in
I
general.
love that. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I appreciate you sharing that. It's one of my favorite parts of every episode, kind of hearing how guests describe their career journeys. And hopefully, the takeaway is that every journey is different. There is no perfect way about it. Don't
Mhm.
get too down on yourself. Don't let comparison be the thief of joy. And I think it's really enlightening hearing a lot of people describe their careers in their own 3 words because you really get to see the variety that exists out there. So I
Yeah.
appreciate that. Well, now I'm gonna transition to my one screen, do my closing, and then I'm gonna get you out of here because I
Okay.
appreciate you being on the pod. Everyone, thank you so much for coming to watch another episode of OneFourthCareers podcast. Was really excited to have a very special friend of mine on the pod. Was even more excited to have someone who's in the medical field for you guys. As I mentioned before, really want to bring you diversity of a lot of different career paths. So put in a comment if you want to see another career. Looking forward to really spreading the breadth of representation that's on this channel. So like, comment, as I mentioned, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to tap in with more episodes and look forward to more content that's to come on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. We got a little IG, we got some Twitter, we got some TikTok. Really just trying to spread to as many people as possible. Whatever your preference is to consume content, I want to provide that to you. So thank you so much for coming by. You'll be able to connect with us on different links that you'll see in the description. And as always, stay happy, stay blessed.